Hey everyone, it's Robert Evans. So today you get to come along with me while I shoot a high school senior portrait and see what I see. Hello everyone and welcome to the Pixel Show. I'm your host, Robert Evans, and today you're going to follow with me along on a senior portrait. It's that time of year where all the high school seniors that are graduating next year are getting their senior portraits done. So I do a few of these when I have time and I'm not traveling. So I probably do anywhere from 5 to 10 of them a year. So today's senior portrait is with Peyton. And in this case, she is actually the daughter of 6'8" Nate's work friend. What's his name? Don. So 6'8" Nate says his name's Don. So this is Don's daughter. And so this is a little different in that, like, I did not meet Peyton until the day that we met to do the shoot. So she didn't come into my studio. She didn't interview. She didn't choose me. But she came, or I came, highly recommended through Nate to Dawn. And so we're shooting her senior portrait. So you're going to get to watch me do it. 6'8" Nate was there. He was filming it. And you're going to get to see images from it. So come along and let's go see me shoot a senior portrait. Hey, it's Robert. So today we are going to do a senior portrait with Peyton.
Hi.
The one thing I always ask everyone is, tell me your vision. So you gave me one word, which was? Urban. But explain that to me.
I like the high fashion editorial street looks,
Yeah.
Like where it's not grunge or like hip hoppy looking, it's more chic.
Chic, okay. And are you obviously a girl, but are you a girly girl?
No, I'm not a girly girl.
You're a girl. Okay. Instead of necessarily not always flowers and pretty colors, but you do gravitate more towards lines and architecture, and perfect, because that's kind of my style. So, all right, I just wanted to know that.
Yep.
Anything you don't like, or you're like, Robert, do not do that?
No, there's nothing really.
Okay.
I'll try something.
Okay. All right, well, let's see what we come up with.
Yeah.
So I think it's super important, even if you've met the client ahead of time, whether it's an engagement shoot or a portrait. I wanted to sort of refresh, in this case I didn't know, but refresh your memory. I asked them what she likes, what she doesn't like, her vision of what she wanted the shoot to be, and she said urban. She liked lines and architecture, which is kind of what I like to shoot. So it was kind of perfect, and I was really looking forward to shooting with her. I did ask her, is there anything that you don't want? And she really didn't have anything, but it's good to know. Another thing that I didn't ask that I do sometimes, even if you're doing boudoir, this is especially important, but I always ask, what part of your body do you like and not like? So maybe for a senior portrait of, obviously, I would phrase it a little differently to a girl, but I could say, is there any part of your body that you don't like, or anything angle that you don't want me to shoot? I think that's always important. And what you're doing is you're putting them at ease. So there's two things that I like. I like these stools right here. I like the depth of them. So I'm gonna just use those. So depending on what the lighting's doing, because it's gonna be really harsh. So let's shoot back this way, because I'll put the sun behind you. Right away, you saw me evaluating the scene and looking at it. And initially I thought I wanted to shoot back towards the building, but then I realized the lighting was bad. And so then now I spun around to shoot the other way. The only thing that was bad about shooting this way, but I knew I could rectify that, was that I was going to see traffic and everyone in the street going by. But by shooting with a wide open aperture, I was going to put that out of focus anyway. You're doing great. So first of all, with posing, what you did, I haven't said anything to you, and you sat down beautifully. Just how you put your arm up, and you just So a lot of times, honestly, the best posing too is you being natural. So even when I shoot weddings or engagement shoots or things like that with my couples, I will say, you guys go lean against a tree, do that, and I'll watch what they do, and then I'll sort of refine from there.
Okay.
So you did it perfectly. So I want you to pivot to me just a touch. I did that because I want to see more of the stools. We came over here because of the depth of the stools. I'm going to come to this side. Turn your head just a little bit now this way. Beautiful. Now I moved because there was a little bit of shadow on your face that I didn't like.
Good.
One thing that's really important, no matter who you're shooting, is to make sure that you give your subject good direction. You can't just point the camera out and then expect them to know what to do unless you're really shooting a very, what do I want to say? Experience. Unless you're shooting a very experienced model, then they move and you can really just take pictures. But generally when you're photographing someone that is not comfortable or familiar with being in front of a camera, it's really important that you give them directions.
Turn into the counter, so completely face it. Lean on the counter. Beautiful, but drop the shoulder just a touch. Good, right there. Turn your head for me just a touch. And then turn to me just a touch. That'll just change your posture a little bit. Now turn and lean on that arm. Yep. No smile. I want you to turn and look across. Turn your head even more that way. Beautiful. Eyes to me from there. And come in a little closer. There's some really, the light here I think is like kicking, like if you see the light on her face, it's like super even because it's kicking off this, which I didn't expect, but it looks nice. So right now I'm shooting the 51.4, the Sony 51.4. Now that I moved over here, it's not quite the right lens that I want, but I think I'm gonna use it. I don't think I'm gonna stay here long just because of the way the light is, but we'll take a few and see what they look like.
Expose it, then you'll
My photo assistant says overexpose it and I'll be fine.
So let's look at a few of those images. Now I'm gonna show you the images right out of her gallery for right now. And we'll feature some of the better ones, but I kind of want you to see what we did. So you can see by kind of looking at these, the angle that I had her, you do see a little bit of traffic. I referenced that, but it is out of focus. I wanted to use the depth of this counter, and so you see that I moved around a little bit to get different angles of the depth. And then the light that I was talking about, I had that nice light kicking, it was bright. I had to make sure that I didn't get some unwanted shadows on her face. But overall, it looks really pretty. This is all available light. I did not use any flash or fill flash. So yeah, you can kind of see what I did. Again, I'll just go through them really quickly. Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so Peyton, you see where the green's going out of the wood in the sunlight? Oh,
no.
Don't step on the photographer's camera. That was my fault. Shouldn't have left it there.
So super important. So I rarely do this, but I had set my camera on the ground, and as she went to move to the location, she basically tripped on it a little bit. And I was lucky that nothing happened to it. But it's one thing that you really need to be conscious about is where you leave your stuff lying around, just so that nobody gets hurt, let alone getting your equipment ruined. And also, more importantly, depending on where you're shooting, that nobody picks it up and runs away with it.
Sit down for me. Get comfy. Scoot that way a touch. You get a little dirty.
Yeah.
So I want you to lay like this.
Okay.
Just, yep. But lay just like how I am. So you're gonna face me. Now lay your feet down so I don't see them. Good. You can kick them off to the side. Good, I love it. There you go. Try to remember that too, because as the photographer, there's so many things I have to watch for, but even it's so easy to get caught up in the moment and taking the picture and it looks great. And so if you help, so everything looks great if it's beautiful, but if you're the most relaxed is always the best.
So I think that's a really good point. Is as much as you can get your subjects to relax, and almost every time I do a shoot, I think oh, I probably could have done a better job at getting them to relax. So some of the things that you can do is you just ask them to take a deep breath. Relax everything from the fingers to the arms because the more relaxed they are, and sometimes it's really easy to miss clenched fists or hands that look weird, and and we're working and we're talking, but you have to look at all those things and again, just remind them take a deep breath, relax. Sometimes when they're smiling a lot, I say take your smile away, bring it back, and it really helps them to relax. And you notice I'm down on the ground with her. That's the angle that I wanted, but I'm asking her to do what I'm not going to ask her to do something I wouldn't be willing to do. All right, so let's look at a few of those. Again, we're back in her gallery. So at first she was sitting, right? And so I had her sit. I liked how everything was going out of focus in the background. But then after I had her sit, I came in a little bit nicer bokeh. But really when I had her lay down and I shot these close, like look how beautiful that background bokeh is. You know, you got in there, again, I was getting some nice side light coming off. I just had to be careful there. You see a little bit of shadow on that side. That one's fine. So it's just her head position. All these little details that you have to watch and maintain like while you're shooting. Then I came in a little bit closer. You know, I wanted to see the eyes and really feature her face. You also have to remember, you know, like you're doing a senior portrait, you want to do some full lengths, some wides, some close-ups. But now look at this bokeh. Look how beautiful that is. In the background, all the pretty colors and everything. So you kind of saw it wider, and now I believe I'm shooting here with the 135-1.8 G Master. All right, so you saw the first kind of one or two locations. They were right next to each other. We're gonna go check out a few other locations in the next episode. But after watching this episode, and if you guys that do senior portraits, are you running into any difficulties, challenges? Do you have questions? Put them in the comments below, and I will try to answer some of those questions for you. And I really appreciate you watching, and stay tuned. We have one or two more episodes that we're gonna get out of this whole shoot. We don't wanna make the episodes too long, so you don't have to watch 30, 40-minute episodes, so we're gonna break them up into 10, 15 minutes each. I'm Robert Evans, I'm your host of The Pixel Show, and thanks for watching.